Hello, dear students. Hope you all are safe and fine and very eager to study today's lesson. Children, today we shall study lesson 6 of science, that is tissue for class 9th. But before we begin with our lesson, I would like to ask a few simple questions from you, and I hope you will be able to answer most of them. So, children, are you ready to answer the questions? Here is your first question. What is the fundamental unit of life? Yes, children, the correct answer is that the fundamental unit of life is the cell. My next question. Children, can you give me some examples of unicellular or single-celled organisms? Most probably, you would answer amoeba or paramecium. Now, tell me children, are human beings unicellular or multicellular organisms? The correct answer is that we human beings are multicellular organisms. My last question for you children is that what is the group of cells known as? Yes, the correct answer is that the group of cells is known as tissues. So children, let us study about tissues and their types in detail in our today's lesson. Let us first of all define what is a tissue. A group of cells that are similar in structure and work together to achieve a particular function is called a tissue. Cells specializing in one function are often grouped together in the body. This cluster of cells is arranged and designed to give the highest possible efficiency of function. Or in simple words, you can say that the cells which are similar in structure and perform same specified function group together to form a tissue. Let us first of all study about the plant tissues. Children, do you know what are plant tissues? Plant tissues mainly include those tissues which can provide structural strength and support to the plant. Most of these tissues are dead and need very little care or maintenance. Plant tissues are mainly of two types, meristematic tissue and permanent tissue. Meristematic tissue. This tissue is also known as dividing tissue. The growth of the plants occurs only in certain specific regions. This is because meristematic tissue is located only at these points. Depending on the region where meristematic tissue is present, it is classified as apical meristem, lateral meristem and intercalary meristematic tissue. Apical meristem. Apical meristem is present at the growing tips of stems and roots and helps to increase their length, while lateral meristem helps to increase the girth of the stem or root. Children, girth means the width of the stem or root. Intercalary meristem is present at the base of the leaves or internodes on twigs. Some important points about meristematic tissue. Cells of this tissue are very active. Cells of this tissue have dense cytoplasm, thin cellulose walls and prominent nuclei. Cells lack vacuoles. Children, after studying about meristematic tissue, let us now study about permanent tissue in detail. Cells of meristematic tissue, when lose the ability to divide and take up a specific role to perform, then they transform into permanent tissue. This process of taking up a permanent shape, size, and a function is called differentiation. Permanent tissue in plants is of two types: simple permanent tissue and complex permanent tissue. Simple permanent tissue. It is further classified into three types: parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma. Parenchyma. In plants, a few layers of cells form the basic packing tissue. This tissue is the parenchyma. It consists of relatively unspecialized cells with thin cell walls. They are live cells and are usually loosely packed, so that large spaces called intercellular spaces are found between the cells in this tissue. Children, this will become more clear to you by looking at this picture of parenchymatous tissue. In this picture, you are shown both transverse section and longitudinal section of the parenchymatous tissue. Parenchymatous tissue performs the following functions: helps to store food, provides support to the plant. Some parenchymatous tissue contain chlorophyll and perform photosynthesis. Such a type of parenchyma is called chlorenchyma. In aquatic plants, large air cavities are present in parenchyma to give buoyancy to the plants to help them float. Such a parenchyma type is called aerenchyma. Collenchyma tissue. Flexibility in plants is due to collenchyma. It allows easy bending in various parts of a plant like leaf, stem without breaking. It also provides mechanical strength to plants. We can find this tissue in leaf stalks below the epidermis. The cells of this tissue are living, elongated, and irregularly thickened at the corners. There is very little intercellular space. Here you can see a transverse and longitudinal section of this type of tissue in this picture. Next type of permanent tissue is sclerenchyma. It is the tissue which makes the plant hard and stiff. Children, you must have seen the husk of a coconut. It is made of sclerenchymatous tissue. The cells of this tissue are dead. They are long and narrow, as the walls are thickened due to lignin. Lignin is a chemical substance which helps to harden the walls of the cell. Often these walls are so thick that there is no internal space inside the cell. This tissue is present in stems, around vascular bundles, in the veins of leaves, and in the hard covering of seeds and nuts. It provides strength to the plant parts. Next type is the protective tissue. The main function of this tissue is to provide protection to the plant. Epidermis is one example of this protective tissue. The outermost layer of the main parts of a plant, like the leaves, roots, and stems, is covered by epidermis. The entire surface of a plant has this outer covering of epidermis to protect all these parts of the plants. Epidermal cells on the aerial parts of the plant often secrete a waxy, water-resistant layer on their outer surface. This provides protection against loss of water, mechanical injury, and invasion by parasitic fungi. There are small pores here and there in the epidermis of the leaf. They are called stomata. These stomata are enclosed by two kidney-shaped guard cells. They are necessary for exchange of gases with the atmosphere. In some plants, like the desert plants, epidermis has a thick waxy coating of cutin on its outer surface. Cutin is a chemical substance with waterproof quality. Children, let us now discuss the second type of permanent tissue, that is the complex permanent tissue. Complex tissues are made up of more than one type of cells, and all these cells coordinate to perform a common function. Complex permanent tissue is further of two types, xylem and phloem. They both are conducting tissues and constitute a vascular bundle. Xylem. Xylem tissue is composed of tracheids, vessels, xylem parenchyma, and xylem fibers. The cells of this tissue have thick walls and many of them are dead. Tracheids and vessels help to transport water and minerals. Parenchyma stores food and fibers are mainly supportive in function. Next to study is phloem. Phloem is also made up of four types of elements. They are sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem fiber, and the phloem parenchyma. Except for phloem fibers, all phloem cells are living cells. Phloem transports food from leaves to other parts of the plant. Unlike xylem, phloem can move the material in both the directions. Children, now we will study about animal tissues. In animals, there are mainly four main types of tissues. They are epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and nervous tissue. First of all, we will discuss about epithelial tissue. The tissue which provides covering or the protective tissue in the animal body is the epithelial tissue. Epithelium covers most organ and cavities within the body. It also forms a barrier to keep different body systems separate. The skin, the lining of the mouth, the lining of blood vessels, lung alveoli, and kidney tubules are all made up of epithelial tissue. The permeability of the cells of this tissue plays an important role in regulating the exchange of materials between the body and the external environment, and also between different parts of the body. Different type of epithelia show differing structures that correlate with their unique functions. Types of epithelial tissue. Firstly, we have simple squamous epithelium to discuss. They are present in cells lining blood vessels or lung alveoli, where transportation of substances occurs through these flat kind of simple squamous epithelium. Next type is stratified epithelium. It is present in the skin and cornea of the eye. Next type of epithelium is the cuboidal epithelium. It forms the lining of kidney tubules and ducts of salivary glands. This type of epithelial cells often acquire additional specialization as gland cells and can secrete substances forming a gland. They are then referred as glandular epithelium. Children, the last type of epithelium that we will study today is columnar epithelium. In organs where absorption and secretion occurs, as in the inner lining of the intestine, columnar epithelium is present. In the respiratory tract, the columnar epithelium tissue has hair-like projections which are called as the cilia. This type of epithelium is called as ciliated columnar epithelium. Let us now discuss about the connective tissue. The cells of connective tissue are loosely spaced and are embedded in an intercellular matrix. This matrix may be jelly-like, fluid, dense or rigid. Actually, the nature of the matrix differs according to the function of the particular type of connective tissue. Types of connective tissues. Blood is a type of connective tissue. Blood has a fluid matrix called plasma. Blood helps to transport gases, digested food, hormones, and waste material to different parts of the body. The red blood cells or the RBCs, white blood cells or the WBCs, and platelets are suspended in the plasma. Bone is another example of a connective tissue. It forms the framework that supports the body. It also anchors the muscles and supports the main organs of the body. This tissue is strong and non-flexible. Bone cells are embedded in a hard matrix that is composed of calcium and phosphorus. The next type of connective tissue is the ligaments. Two bones are connected to each other by this very elastic connective tissue called the ligament. Ligament contains very little matrix. Another type of connective tissue is tendons. Tendons connect muscle to the bones. They are fibrous tissues with great strength but limited flexibility. Children, let us now discuss about the third type of animal tissue, the muscular tissue. Muscular tissue consists of elongated cells also called muscle fibers. This tissue is responsible for movement in our body. Muscles contain special protein called contractile proteins, which contract and relax to cause movement. Muscular tissue is further of three types: striated muscles, smooth muscles, and cardiac muscle. Let us discuss them one by one in detail. First of all, striated muscles or the voluntary muscles. We can move some muscles by our own conscious will. Muscles present in our limbs move when we want them to and stop when we so decide. Such muscles are called voluntary muscles. These muscles are also called skeletal muscles as they are mostly attached to the bones and help in the body movement. If we observe under the microscope, these muscles show alternate light and dark bands or the striations. when stained appropriately. That is why this type of muscles are also called striated muscles. The cells of this tissue are long, cylindrical, unbranched, and multinucleate. The next type is smooth muscles or unstriated muscles. The movement of food in the alimentary canal or the contraction and relaxation of blood vessels are not voluntary movements. That means we cannot start them or stop them simply by wanting to do so. Such involuntary movements are controlled by smooth muscles. They are also found in the iris of the eye, in ureters, and in the bronchi of the lungs. The cells of this tissue are long with pointed ends. Such a shape is called spindle shape, and the cells are uninucleate. The smooth muscles are also called unstriated muscles as they do not show any striations in them. The next type is the cardiac muscle. Cardiac muscles are found in the heart. These muscles show rhythmic contraction and relaxation throughout the life. These are also involuntary muscles. Heart muscle cells are cylindrical, branched, and uninucleate. Children, you can compare the structure of different types of muscular tissues by looking at their pictures shown to you. Note their shape, number of nuclei, and position of nuclei within the cell for their comparative study. Now, the last type of animal tissue that we will study today in this lesson is the nervous tissue. Cells of the nervous tissue are highly specialized for being stimulated and then transmitting the stimulus very rapidly from one place to another within the body. The brain, spinal cord, and nerves are all composed of the nervous tissue. The cells of this tissue are called nerve cells or neurons. A neuron consists of a cell body with a nucleus and cytoplasm from which long, thin hair-like parts arise, as you can see in the picture shown to you here. Usually, each neuron has a single long part called the axon and many short branched parts called dendrites. An individual nerve cell may be up to a meter long. Many nerve fibers bound together by connective tissue to make up a nerve. Nerve impulses allow us to move our muscles according to our own will. Dear children, let us now give a quick revision to whatever we have studied in this lesson today. Tissue is a group of cells similar in structure and function. Plant tissues are of two types, meristematic and permanent. Permanent tissue is further of two types, simple and complex tissues. Parenchyma, collenchyma, and sclerenchyma are three types of simple tissue. Erenchyma and chlorenchyma are types of parenchyma. Complex tissue is further classified as xylem and phloem. Animal tissues are of four types: epithelial, connective, muscular, and nervous tissue. Epithelial tissue is further classified as squamous, cuboidal, columnar, and stratified. The different types of connective tissues are blood, bone, ligaments, and tendons. Muscular tissue is of three types: striated, unstriated, and cardiac. Children, now I will ask you some questions and hope that you will be able to answer them all correctly. So children, ready for the questions? The first question goes like this. Inner lining of the mouth is composed of which type of tissue? And the correct answer is that the inner lining of the mouth is composed of simple squamous epithelium. The next question. Which tissue helps in the transport of food in the plants? The correct answer is phloem. Now children, you have to fill in the blanks in some of the questions. Blood is a dash tissue. You have to fill in the blank. The correct answer is connective tissue, or blood is a connective tissue. Next question. Tissue connecting two bones together is called a dash tissue. Tissue connecting two bones together is called a dash tissue. And the correct answer is ligament. The next question. Small pores present in the epidermis of a leaf are called dash. I am again repeating. Small pores present in the epidermis of a leaf are called dash. And the correct answer is they are called stomata. Your next and last question is a very interesting question. Here you are given a picture of nerve cell or a neuron, and children, you have to label all its parts. I know children, you will be able to do it, but let me still help you out. The central part is the nucleus. The short branches which you can see here are the dendrites. This long branch here which you can see is the axon. With this, we come to the end of our today's lesson, that was tissues. Hope children, you enjoyed learning the lesson with me. But for a better understanding of the lesson, you just have to read the lesson once from your textbooks. And children, try to answer all the questions given in the exercise. We will soon meet again with the next lesson. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.